Do not leave this moment, because what you are about to hear is not just a story. It is a doorway into a world most people never see, but many secretly live in, a world where darkness does not hide in shadows. It hides in ordinary faces and peaceful smiles. Stay right here. Breathe slow and let your mind walk into this night with me, because once you enter this path, every heartbeat, every breath, and every whisper will start to feel different. There was a town that looked like perfection. Soft lights at night, warm laughter echoing through streets, neighbors greeting one another as if safety was guaranteed here, as if danger did not even know this place existed. It was the kind of town where life seemed predictable, where children played without fear, where doors were rarely locked, and trust felt like the air everyone breathed. But perfection is often a costume, and behind beautiful things, there is sometimes something broken, something dangerous, something waiting and watching with silent patience. In this place lived someone nobody feared, someone nobody doubted, someone the world would never suspect, a person who blended into life like background noise, harmless, invisible, unshakable in their innocence. At least that is what everyone believed. They smiled kindly, they spoke softly, they helped when people needed them. They walked through every day like a friend to the world, but inside the places nobody could see, something else lived, something that did not sleep, something that did not care about right or wrong, something capable of unspeakable choices and silent cruelty. There was another soul in this town, someone whose heart began to sense what eyes could not see. It began quietly, like a whisper inside the chest, that strange feeling when the world looks safe, but your spirit knows something is not safe at all. Nights started feeling heavier, rooms felt colder, silence started to sound louder than noise, and slowly fear began to breathe like an unseen presence standing beside them, watching them, following them everywhere they went. They woke up in the middle of the night, not sure why, but certain someone somewhere was awake, thinking about them. They ignored it at first, because that is what humans do. We convince ourselves everything is fine, because believing the truth would mean accepting danger, and nobody wants to accept danger in a place that looks like paradise. But instincts are powerful, and instincts never lie. While fear grew stronger, strange little things started happening, small enough to ignore, but deep enough to disturb. Doors slightly moved, lights flickered, air shifted, footsteps felt like they existed, even when the ground was empty, and the world inside their heart began to whisper, "This is not imagination. Something is here. Someone is here." Then came the moment when everything changed. A moment not loud, not dramatic, but powerful enough to break the illusion of safety forever. Something was discovered, something so real, so undeniable, that even hope could not cover it anymore. Fear was no longer just a feeling. Fear became fact. Hearts raced, voices trembled, thoughts shattered, and the peaceful mask of this town began to rip apart, because the truth had stepped forward, and the truth was terrifying. Someone dangerous had always been here, hiding behind everyday life, hiding behind politeness, hiding behind normality, and nobody saw it until it was too late. People started questioning everything. Who can be trusted? Who is real? Who is pretending? How long has this been happening? How close had danger been breathing next to them? The shocking part was not just what happened. The shocking part was how close evil had lived to them, how normal it looked, how friendly it behaved, how quietly it waited until the perfect moment to reveal itself. And when the truth finally appeared, it did not roar. It simply looked back at them with calm eyes, as if darkness had every right to exist there. The town changed that day. Hearts changed, minds changed, and the world no longer felt innocent. Because once you discover that evil can live behind a friendly smile, you never look at smiles the same again. Fear started living in conversations, trust faded from eyes, and the sky above this once happy place suddenly felt heavier than ever before. And while everyone tried to understand what happened, one person could not shake one thought. If this was only the beginning, if this was just the first layer, then what else was hiding beneath the quiet streets and beautiful nights of this place? What they did not know yet was that this story runs deeper than anyone could imagine. This is not just about a dangerous person. This is about how darkness grows in silence, how it feeds on secrets, how it survives inside human flesh and walks in daylight without being seen. What is coming next will question humanity itself. It will challenge the idea of safety. It will expose how fragile peace truly is and how easily life can turn into a nightmare without warning. This is not just a story. This is an experience, and now you are a part of it, whether you are ready or not. Stay here. Do not let go, because this is only the beginning, and what waits ahead is darker, colder, heavier, and frighteningly real. And once you see it, you will never forget it. Your mind will carry it, your heart will feel it, and your soul will know why. Some towns are peaceful only because nobody has opened the wrong door, yet do not pull away from this moment, because what you are stepping into now is deeper, darker, and far more unsettling than anything before. What happened in that town did not simply frighten people. It rewrote the very meaning of safety. It peeled away trust, like peeling skin from something once alive. And now everyone began to realize the truth. Darkness does not approach from a distance. It grows silently from within. And by the time anyone notices, it has already wrapped itself around everything. Days that once felt normal now felt watched. Streets that once echoed with laughter now carried silence like a wound. And every window, every shadow, every face became a possible question. Everyone pretended to continue life, but life refused to feel the same, because fear, once awakened, never sleeps again. And in this place, fear was now awake, fully aware, and very much alive. People kept asking, how did no one see this? How could something so dangerous stay hidden for so long? But the real question was even worse. If this is what they finally discovered, then what else is still hidden behind calm voices and gentle smiles? The person who first sensed danger could no longer calm their heart. Their breath became heavier. Every day, nights became unbearable. The walls felt closer, the floor felt colder, and every sound felt like someone breathing right beside them, even when they were alone. They tried to convince themselves that things would settle, but the truth refused to soften. There was something unfinished, something unresolved, something still moving silently through their world, like a shadow attached to their soul. And the more they tried to ignore it, the stronger it pressed against their mind. People in the town started whispering stories. Doors closed earlier, lights switched off, sooner streets emptied faster. Trust dissolved quietly, like smoke fading into the night. Everyone tried to look normal, but their eyes betrayed them, their voices trembled slightly, their bodies carried tension, like a constant weight, because once evil walks among you, even air does not feel the same anymore. Then something else happened, something that made fear even sharper than before, something that proved the nightmare was not over. It was only unfolding slowly, like a silent storm, growing heavier, one layer at a time. Something new was discovered, something colder, more disturbing, and far more personal than anyone was ready for. This was not just crime. This was intention. This was planning. This was a mind working in darkness, calmly, patiently, precisely. And that realization crushed whatever hope remained. What terrified people the most was not just what had happened. It was understanding that someone capable of such silence, cruelty, and control had moved among them every day, had listened to their laughter, had smiled back at them, had been close enough to touch, close enough to hear heartbeats, and no one ever noticed. It was like discovering that darkness had been sitting at your dinner table all along, smiling politely while secretly holding a knife under the cloth. The soul who first felt the danger could no longer pretend their world had cracked beyond repair. Sleep no longer brought rest, only images, sounds, breaths that did not belong. Nightmares did not wait for night anymore. They followed into daylight like silent ghosts. They began to question themselves, their reality, their memories. Was everything always this unsafe? Did they ever truly know anyone? Had they ever been safe at all? Or was safety just a lie people tell themselves so they can sleep at night? Police were present, neighbors talked in fear. Families held each other closer, but none of it felt strong enough, because this was not just physical danger, this was psychological invasion. This was the slow, crushing realization that humanity can carry darkness quietly, that evil does not always roar. Sometimes it whispers softly and politely and still destroys everything. The town became divided. Some people wanted to forget, move on, bury the fear, like burying a body, hoping silence would erase it. Others could not stop thinking, searching, replaying moments, trying to see signs they might have missed. And deep inside, everyone knew something important. Something terrifying was still missing, like an unfinished sentence hanging in the air. The story was not done. The darkness had not fully spoken yet, and the ground beneath their lives still felt unstable, like it could break open any second. There is something horrifying about realizing that danger did not come from outside. It was inside all along. Walking streets, sharing conversations, breathing the same air, living quietly while carrying storms. And once people understood that something inside them changed forever, innocence died. And once innocence dies, it does not return. It leaves behind awareness, heavy awareness that follows you everywhere, turning every smile into a possibility, every stranger into a question, every quiet night into a battlefield between calm and fear. And the person who first sensed danger, they began to piece together fragments, small moments, odd behaviors, little inconsistencies, things they once ignored, but now burned in their memory like marks carved into the brain. And slowly, painfully, they understood something far worse than anyone else was ready to face. This was not random. This was not accident. This was not momentary madness. This was deliberate, planned, purposeful, and very personal. And once that realization settled inside them, their heart never felt the same again, because now they knew something everyone else feared. To even consider, the story was not over. The real truth had not surfaced yet, and the most terrifying chapter was still waiting in silence, like a predator in the dark, watching, breathing, patient, and completely unafraid. Stay right here. Do not move away. Do not loosen your focus, because the next part is where the real face of this darkness begins to show. And once you see it, you will never be able to unknow it. This is not just crime. This is the human soul at its most terrifying level, and the path ahead is about to reveal how far darkness can go when nobody stops it. Do not look away now, because this is the part most people cannot handle. This is the moment when truth stops hiding, when the darkness finally decides to speak, when everything you thought you understood shatters completely. This is not just the ending of a story. This is the revelation of a world you did not know existed until now. And once you understand it, nothing about trust, safety, or humanity will ever feel the same again. The town was breathing fear by now, like air. People looked normal on the outside, but inside, everyone was trembling. Memories replayed endlessly. Questions would not stop. Thoughts would not rest. Hearts beat differently now, like they were always bracing for something else, something worse, something final. And they were right, because the real truth had still not opened its eyes yet. The one who first sensed danger could feel it strongest. Something inside them whispered, "It is not done." Something is still out there. Something is unfinished. Their soul refused to calm, even when everyone said things were under control, because deep inside, they knew the most terrifying part of this story had not spoken yet. They could feel it, like a cold hand resting on the back of their neck, like a voice without sound, breathing inside their mind. Something is still here. Something is still watching. Something is still moving in silence. Then it happened. Not loud, not dramatic, just chilling in its quietness. The final truth began to unfold, and it was nothing like people expected. This was not a monster born in darkness. This was not evil created overnight. This was something built slowly, piece by piece, shaped by years of hidden pain, quiet anger, silent hunger, and secret obsession. This was a person who learned to hide behind kindness, who learned to smile while ripping lives apart inside their mind, who learned to act normal while carrying storms no human soul was meant to carry. And they had been perfect at it, invisible, flawless, trusted, and that made them far more terrifying than any creature in nightmares. The realization crushed the town because it meant one thing: evil does not always come from outside. Sometimes it grows quietly, inside someone who looks just like everyone else, someone you greet, someone you trust, someone you would never fear. They understood finally that the real horror was not what this person did. The real horror was how normal they always seemed, how close they had always been, how every ordinary day people stood beside them without knowing they were standing next to a living storm. The person who first felt the danger now stood in the middle of this truth, their heart breaking, their soul shaking, because every instinct they had ignored now returned like thunder. Every moment they brushed off came back sharper. Every whisper they denied now screamed inside them. You were right. Something was always wrong. Something was always watching. And now there was no way to unsee it, no way to go back to the world they once believed was safe. The town tried to breathe again, but breathing did not feel natural anymore. Peace felt fake, silence felt haunted, nights felt longer, and minds felt heavier. Every face was questioned, every memory was inspected, every smile was studied, because now everyone understood how easily darkness can wear the mask of ordinary life, how easily danger can live beside you, how easily trust can be broken without a sound. And the darkest part was not over. Even after truth came out, fear did not leave. It stayed like a permanent shadow. Because once your heart learns how close evil can stand to you without being noticed, it never forgets that lesson. Every sound feels different. Every quiet hallway feels alive. Every unexpected movement feels like a warning. This town was never the same again, and the soul who first sensed danger was never the same again. Either they carried knowledge. Now, knowledge that safety is fragile, that innocence can die quietly, that human darkness is deeper than most people will ever be ready to face. But there is something else hidden inside this story, something heavier than fear, something colder than danger, and that is awareness. Awareness that the world is not as harmless as it pretends to be. Awareness that behind some smiles there are storms. Awareness that behind some peaceful nights there are nightmares waiting patiently. And awareness that sometimes the scariest criminals are not the ones you see coming, but the ones you never suspect until the moment everything breaks. So if you are listening to this right now, do not think this is just a story, because stories end. But this kind of truth lives forever. It follows you. It sits in the back of your mind. It changes the way you see people, the way you trust, the way you breathe when the world goes quiet at night. Because now, you know that somewhere behind calm eyes and gentle voices, darkness can still exist, waiting, planning, watching silently. And that is the most chilling part of all. This was not just about one town. This was not just about one person. This was about how fragile human safety truly is, how easily life can turn, and how sometimes the real horror is not found in monsters, but in ordinary human faces, carrying extraordinary darkness behind them. And once you understand that, you never walk through the world the same again.